Good morning. Give me a little something. See, y'all back here. Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. Franz Kafka says, anyone who keeps the ability to see beauty never grows old. No, y'all just old. Not get in here, y'all complaining about everything. God, good morning. God.
You know, one of the,
just put the voice to it. Ain't no complaint.
Man.
You know, one of the main pet peeves of mine is
oh boy,
you saying y'all when it ain't got nothing to do with me.
It do.
I wouldn't in here complaining.
Not yet.
So don't say y'all. Don't say y'all.
Oh no, it's inclusive. It includes the future too.
That's a
because at some point you gonna kick in.
That's a black
good.
Oh,
Lord,
right there. Don't
kick in. They gonna kick in.
Where he started that.
Don't put the stopwatch on. It's gonna kick in. Maybe 2 minutes in, 3 minutes in. It's gonna kick in. Good morning.
By saying,
welcome to Old Guys on the Radio program.
What did he say?
We complaining man about everything, aches and pains, the Utes, everything. Man. Good morning. Hey, good morning, Clark Kent. Who you with? Hey, what's happening, brother? Apostle.
Bishop.
Apostle.
Superintendent.
Hey,
man.
What up, Craig Stingley?
Shalom, family.
All right. DJ the protege.
D-Jizzle.
He got the shades on. He's getting hot up in here. I know we're doing Hater Nation today, so you need to cue us up. All right. Hey, but let me just throw the hate off right now. Anybody going to see Nelly tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna go see him.
After last night,
his politics is wrong, dude.
I don't care nothing about that. There's gonna be women out there.
Stalker. All right.
It's gonna be ladies out there.
Of course, he's there for the music. Oh man!
If they let you in,
right. Yeah.
See, here we go. Here we go. They ain't gonna let us in because of them, right?
Yeah. It's gonna be tighter though.
Man,
we don't look like we teenagers.
Now. They're gonna have extra this and that because of that.
No, is Jermaine grown?
As a fool.
Is Jermaine grown?
As a fool.
I'm asking the question. Is Jermaine grown?
As a fool.
So he don't got nothing to worry about.
Maybe.
Like, no, maybe.
He looks like a dude that could cause some trouble.
I will tear some stuff up.
You know, have you ever seen some people that always say this, don't put my driver's license picture up because people going to say I did it. Yeah, you know, some of us just look guilty.
Look like that.
Yeah, I mean, he always looks guilty. Like
I did it before I did it.
Had a buddy said his daddy used to whoop him before he go to work because he know he's gonna mess up. He just take care of it first
Minority Report.
Morning, you know,
catch him before the crime even happens.
That's atrocious.
Come on, get this work.
That's atrocious.
Oh, he know his child.
The charge is already for you.
Yeah, you know, I work with kids all my life, and parents in denial about your badass kids.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I got some stories about that.
You know.
I know you do.
Man, speaking of kids, man, my daughter got a call. She at work. Son called and said he hears somebody upstairs.
Oh my God.
So she come home. She tell her son, be quiet. She stand by her daughter's door. Kick the door in. Boy in the room.
We just living in those days, man.
Somebody in the room?
Yeah, with the 14-year-old. Dude got to talking crazy. Left out the house.
I would have been.
It wasn't. Pretty.
I would have been walking. I would have been like easing.
It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty for her. It wasn't pretty for her.
I bet it wasn't.
Man, I was like, they gonna call me. I said, Grandpa, I met him. It was a matter of time, but I didn't know. I couldn't say nothing. I just said, well, that's what you get for taking us through that. That's all I had to say.
Ooh.
She took us
what
through
did
the
Donnie
same.
McClurkin say? What do you do?
When you've done all you can.
Yeah.
I know what's happening with his little lawsuit.
What
do you do?
When you've done all you can.
Yeah,
He got what's his lawsuit?
And it seemed like it's never enough.
Sexual harassment.
With a woman?
No.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Don't answer that yet.
So it was a dude, or was this a little
It was
boy?
a dude.
Don't answer that, kid. Don't get yourself in no trouble. Ask the question again, brother.
Was it a dude or a little boy?
It was a dude. No, he's grown. He was grown. Yeah. We're not Eddie Long in here.
You on the roll.
Too soon.
Yeah, too soon, man. You on the roll.
Yeah, man.
This dude is on a roll, man. Somebody
Hey,
stop.
y'all
But
started
what
it.
do you do though, man?
Huh?
What do you do?
What do you do about what? Try not to kill him.
Chaos. The chaos.
Try not to kill him. I mean,
Try
I
not
think
to
there's
kill 'em.
another discussion too about whether or not you put girls on birth control.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the discussion, because people say if I put it on birth control, that means they're going to do it. No, they're doing it without birth control, and the consequences are far greater.
But some women use the birth control to control
Their
their
period.
menstrual,
Right.
because it be so bad on them
Right.
that they can't take the pain and the cramping
yeah.
and things like
But
that.
I'm
so
just
they
saying
use that.
Because there was a statistic, and I don't know how true it was. It said about 60 to 70% of young people could have sex before they're 18.
Yeah.
So, and then at the same time, you know, the teen pregnancy rate has dropped.
Yeah.
But I just think, you know, I'm one of those people that, and again, I don't have kids, but if, you know, I would just say, yeah, my daughter is going to go on birth control when she hits puberty. Now, there could be some long-term side effects. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think this idea that is how we treat sex, and understand it as part of our humanity.
Yeah,
but
some of
that's
the stuff we just over exaggerate.
Yeah, but you don't want, as a young person, you don't want your kid at the age of 13, 14, 15, 16 having sex then, because making those decisions,
Get pregnant.
I could.
But guess what? When you was a kid, did you want it?
Hold on. I understand it, but now that I'm
Is he going to Nelly tonight?
now that I'm a parent, and now that I'm older,
Oh,
now
you
that
got
I'm
daughters?
a parent, I have a daughter.
uh-huh.
Now that I'm a parent and
Uh-huh.
I'm older, I know what to look for. So it's my job.
You don't think your parents knew what to look for
It's
when you
my-
was a kid?
Listen, it's my job to put it out there and plant the seed. My
That's
parents,
all you can do.
my parents planted the seed,
And you still wanted it.
Hold on. My parents planted the seed, and yes, I had to find out for myself, but I didn't know what I wanted until
You got it.
Well, you know, we live in a society that don't promote taking responsibility
exactly.
from
You
the
knew-
top down.
Exactly.
Then what else is there to do?
Exactly.
Greg, he knew he wanted some breasts, some
I
thighs,
didn't
some
know what-
legs,
no,
and
no,
he
no,
wasn't
no,
talking
no,
about
no.
no chicken.
No,
Because
no,
all right,
if
we
you
weren't
got the
talking about
responsibility
Popeyes.
that comes with
No,
it,
bro, you don't know.
then you gonna make a choice.
When you
your choice
when
is
you a
gonna be what you
teenager,
counted, right?
when you're a teenager, you know your hormones is raging. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't know you know, but you don't think about those consequences after the fact. But that's not to say that many parents don't educate them. It's plenty parents that's told them, "Hey, I'm not being no grandmama, no grandfather
Yeah,
at
at an
no
early
early age." And,
Right.
and,
Well,
and
but
what
that-
ended
that's
up
as
happening
old as
still.
the act
Because-
itself.
Because again, DJ, you have to understand this. Whatever you are exposed to, it's going to pique your interest. So if you are exposed to the sexual content,
No.
I'm telling you what it is. If you see it, because that's why the scripture tells you to guard the gateway to your soul. Because if you
Man.
see it and hear, you can't unsee
We
it, you
got
can't
all
unhear it.
dudes. We got all dudes up in here. Let's talk about the biology. What somebody said?
Well, you know,
well, hold on. The
no,
wind,
go
the
ahead.
wind could blow. Right? When you 15, the wind could blow. We gotta accept the science, man. And because we don't have this conversation about the science, then we getting into I don't want to be a grandparent. You wishing ain't a strategy.
No, but Keith,
You know, so I'm just saying, talk to your kids and then have them have a healthy outlook about sex.
But
sex ain't necessarily a proof that I love you. I mean, it's all these things that people are looking for, and young people especially. But look, man, when I was 13,
so let me ask you this.
14,
So
15,
right. So when you was in
16.
school, wait, hold on,
It
hold
don't
on.
stop.
Wait, so
43.
Wait, hold on.
43.
So when you was in school and when you took sex education and they showed you those herpes bumps and they showed you syphilis and they showed you gonorrhea, they showed it to you for a reason because they wanted you to see it. Because by you sinning, it was going to do something to your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then that by you having sex, it's a possibility that you can get these lumps. You can have syphilis, gonorrhea, crabs.
Did that stop you?
It ain't gonna stop nobody.
I didn't.
Okay,
Hold on. Wait. Hold on.
That fear.
Wait. I
don't
didn't.
work.
Hold on. I didn't
Suppression
say.
and real.
I didn't
You
say.
know.
I didn't say it stopped you, but
Right.
it made you conscious of what
Yeah.
was of what can happen to you.
Right.
So every time you had the opportunity or the opportunity presented yourself, you had that escape that either you can choose to, oh man, this is what can happen, or I could jump in and
You're
see.
not thinking about that every single time.
I get it. But that's not what I'm saying. But it was still
is-
available, even though
Right.
you weren't thinking about it.
And what I'm saying is, the education is out. There are many people who are having those conversations
Right.
and have had those conversations. The fact of the matter is, when you young,
Right.
when you mature,
True.
and when you old,
True.
you still gonna want that. So you can have all the talks in the world. It's still incumbent on those two individuals to make a more
Responsible decision.
responsible decision.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
Now,
what comes
That's
down
what I'm
to.
saying.
And that's why the age of consent is 18.
because
Because
your mindset.
even though you're a biological adult, you're still a child
right.
in your thinking. And look, and somebody just brought up a good point. I wish that there were grown-ass folks who would be that conscious. But that
Right.
ain't the case even with, so the question becomes our outlook, and part of it is how we're taught about sex.
Right.
If we taught about sex from a moral perspective, then that's how people are looking at it. We're not looking at the biology. What's the primary purpose for having sex? Procreation. What is the consequence of one having unprotected sex? Pregnancy. And then we get into diseases, but pregnancy. So then what does that mean?
Yeah, people
That
talk
means
about
that we
that
have
first.
somebody who's not prepared to raise a child, but who has a child. Okay. And so I don't know. And I hear all of this, but I just think that if you want to have this conversation, let me rephrase that. When we have this conversation, I was part of a group through Planned Parenthood that was trying to put together a curriculum of healthy, sex health, sex education. And it was hard because we dealing with the church.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And in spite of all of the church's teachings, okay, that has fallen on deaf ears. Hormones speak louder than theology. I'll say it one more time. Hormones speak louder than theology. You are not
it's just like you said, right out, is that human nature is powerful. And so you really can't restrain it. Right. But you have to teach responsibility. You have to teach the results, the consequences. Are you going to be prepared to do this thing, not just for a year,
Forever.
but for 18 years and for 20 years? Going
But
down
here's
the
what's
road?
funny.
And that's the message that's not
But
getting
we
put
know
out.
what 18 years down the road looks like. A 16-year-old does not.
Right.
And so
And that's why you have
it's
to
an
train 'em.
abstraction.
You have to
But
teach
no,
'em.
but it's an abstraction. To them, when you're talking about, hey man, do you know you have to raise that kid for 18 years and they've lived 14? The math says I don't have a concept. And then, because this is what human beings will do, it happens to everybody but me.
Yeah.
Exceptional people. Right? How many
And that's a
dudes?
fallacy.
How many dudes
Yeah.
and
Trust me,
women
I know.
have gotten caught up in drugs because everybody else got addicted? I won't. Yes, you will.
Yeah.
So, it's a hard one. I think it's also where you are, our sexual behavior, our self-esteem. There's a lot of things going on.
Self-control too.
Yeah.
So, well,
I mean,
yeah.
everything,
But
But
I'm just saying, but there's a lot that goes into our whole thing. And so we have these conversations around sex, around sexuality, around sexual identification. We need to deal with the science. This is Keith. And then, after a while, once you know how it works, I think the other thing is, how do you raise the self-esteem of a child? 13 is tough. I don't know if anybody's ever been 13. I've been 13. 13 is hard. I remember when the kids came up and then it was just down. I said, what's that? You 13, right? Yeah, I said, yeah, dude. I had to be honest with, dude, 13 sucks. But 13 ain't forever. But it sucks still.
it didn't suck for me.
It didn't suck for me.
the exception to
You know,
the rule.
It's all
But-
relative.
See, there you go.
It's all
See,
relative.
At
I
the
mean, whether
end
you're
of the
11,
day-
12, 13, 15, 17,
it's
20,
We all gonna go through
still got to
something.
deal
And
with
that
it.
learning curve is it ain't
You
no
know,
escaping that learning
It's
curve.
more involved in investment of time on the adults that are in those
Exactly.
children's lives, if
Exactly.
they're even in them.
And then I
lives.
think the other thing is
Right.
when you put people, and I was just thinking about this. I don't know. I was driving from Racine last night. Hey, I saw a Will Martin sign down in Racine.
Good.
I was driving from Racine last night. I said, one of the things about us is that, as you just said, how you think about a thing.
Mhm.
But then I also I was watching these kids, and they were involved with organized sports, because when kids are in positive things,
Mhm.
it is very different than when you, as you just said, leave them on their own devices.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Because DJ is the leader of the group, then we can really do something stupid. Because at that point, it didn't. Because DJ has a story. And for all of us, does this resonate with anybody? It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Does that resonate with anybody that's listening?
Even now, when I sit back and look at my life and some of the stuff that I've done, I sit back and was like, man, that's stupid. Even though at that particular time we thought, oh man, this is amazing.
Or like that curl?
Man, that Wave Nouveau, man. I mean, man, I wanted to be Pretty Ricky, man. I wanted to be Tubbs off of Miami Vice. I wanted to be Tubbs.
Man, I'd have put on some clothes. It seemed like a good idea until I walked out the crib.
Hey, man, I had a snakeskin suit. And I wore that thing to church. I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was bad idea.
Hey,
Going to church. Why
listen.
all your stuff got to be in church, man?
Hey, man, because I'm a church thug,
You didn't have
man.
no learning experiences in the club
Oh,
or at
no.
the bars.
I
So
know.
you had to figure this
Hey.
out at church.
I had a whole lot of those.
Hey, wait a minute.
But-
And then he show up at the bar in the black
Ones that
suit.
matter,
He showed up on the black suit.
The ones that matter.
Right,
the
showed
ones
up
that
one time.
Doc, I showed up
That's
with
right.
snakeskin boots,
Straight up pimpers in the bar.
snakeskin boots, snakeskin suit. When I walked in the church,
Pimping in the
Pimping in the
Doc.
pulpit.
I walked
In
in
the
the church looking foolish. But again, I didn't care. Whatever I did, I was going to
You
church.
didn't care?
No, I didn't care.
Did
So
you care once you got the reaction?
no, because I'm like, hey man, this is for me. So
Ooh.
like I actually, did some stuff and I still went to church because I was like, regardless of what I'm doing, I'm still going to church.
Somebody said we
It was
need
put in you at a young
we
age.
need
Exactly.
we
And that's the thing
we
that
need a
we're talking
female
about.
voice here.
Sit on the
You know,
couch.
Well,
with me.
call
You
in.
realize that a lot of
I'm
our
telling you.
youth are operating out of just being conditioned,
Yep.
and let
Product
go.
of environment.
Like, and it gives evidence to what is said in the scripture. A child left to themselves
Yeah.
is gonna do
It's gonna do whatever.
crazy stuff and bring shame to their parents.
Yeah.
Well,
we
if
seeing
if
it.
we gonna have a female voice, then we gonna need them to be 100 because
Yeah.
them
Thank
girls,
you.
wanted
Thank
it
you,
just
bro.
as much as them boys did.
Because
Whenever
what?
you
What, a new
sneak in,
human nature ain't
whenever
gonna-
you
They're
sneak
human.
into her house,
That's right. That's
she
right.
had
wanted
to
to.
let you in.
she
You
knew
know?
she knew what was gonna happen before you got there.
Is it her
Because she
fault?
gave you everybody's equally.
No,
at
it ain't
fault.
nobody's fault.
Ain't
Yeah,
nobody's
that's
fault.
But you're told,
Everybody-
you're told, like
Particularly,
she let him in.
Times where you
No.
talk about,
because we always talk about
the social media
boys
thing.
boys will be boys
Uh-huh.
and boys being
And
mannish
girls
and
don't be
stuff.
girls.
And it's like the boys just force the girls to do this. No,
No,
Some of these
it
girls are
go
more.
both ways.
How
Some
many?
of these women are more aggressive than men. Like now,
Did that just start?
no, no. But I'm saying, but now it seems like it's more of a forefront now because you got a lot of women now that would tell you nowadays, I don't want a relationship. I just want a situational shit.
Okay.
And that just goes.
Wait,
to,
hold on, wait a minute, hold on. Let's take. You got a problem with that?
I didn't say I had a problem with it, but I'm just saying that's what women are saying
She
now.
need to
more
call
than
you in the
more.
morning.
What I'm saying
You
is,
wait by the
Hey, Keith, and go back to that question. Did you go back?
Yeah. No, he couldn't go back.
what he's saying is a continuum of the downfall of society.
thank you.
I would.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, man. That's what I'm saying.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
Thank you. I appreciate you
That's
putting that in
what
layman's terms.
No, we not
I
about to.
appreciate you putting that in layman's terms.
That's what
He not Aristotle up here. All right. We not about to go. We not about to
Which gets
a reprobate mind.
That's it, Jack.
That's
Come
right.
on in there, Doc.
Which
You
gets
in there. You in there, Jack.
the point you just made when Philip Bailey talked about reasons.
Oh,
Yeah.
Talk about now. Wait a minute. You know whose feelings was hurt? His.
Mhm.
See, as long
What
as
Frankie Beverly say? After the morning.
Yeah.
after-
Yeah, that's a good song too.
no, but when she don't call you the next day,
no, that is true because that is
who
true.
tripping?
We are because normally it's us and they like, well, why you don't call after you? But then when it
When they
when
flip
it
that
happens to
script,
you,
Yeah.
when they
Like,
flip that
remember,
script,
after you know you find yourself balled up in your bed, or you in the bed.
in the fetal position.
remember on Boomerang when Robin Gibbs left him the $200.
Yeah.
Robin Gibbs.
Hey, when the
was
shoe's
playing
on the other foot,
It don't feel
when the shoe was on the other foot, you all called it, worked AC right out for 2 weeks, right?
So you just gonna do this to me and not call me?
Hey, and it all goes back
Will
to,
you love me tomorrow?
hey, if it's something that you want, you're gonna figure out a way to get it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
Man.
it's been some very strict parents.
Yeah.
I gotta meet everybody who come into this house. I gotta meet everybody
Yeah.
who you are
There you go.
involved
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe
My
no
parents-
shenanigans happen in the house.
Right.
It could have happened in the car,
Yeah.
on the park.
No, that is
You know what I mean?
true.
Like it's
Yep.
always going to
That is
be
true.
something. So you just have
Where
to.
there's a
Where there's a
will.
will, there's a
There's
way.
You
a
just
When
have to
gonna
have
find-
that conversation with them, and
right.
then you just got to trust that
that
they
gonna
are
make the right
able to
decision.
make a responsible decision when they're on. Because at the end of the day, as a parent, your children are going to be away from you more than
Yeah.
you're with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you're with them, it's just important that you give them
And-
the
And
necessary knowledge
parents have to
in
be
order
willing to
for
say
them to,
no.
be able to discuss
And
stuff.
check this out. I'm gonna say this. How many of y'all done took that bicycle ride at 8:00 at night when their parents in their home?
Never.
Dude, the statute of limitations ain't up.
Statute of limitations. I ain't never took that.
I ain't never
that
took
bike
that.
ride, but they took it for me. They took it.
Hey, but I'm gonna say this though.
I don't know how to ride a bike.
See, but I'm gonna say this. I mean, DJ,
Yeah,
you
no.
are
They
you
know.
are 110% correct because I had strict parents that didn't allow stuff to happen in the home.
And you know what?
But
your pa-
however, then when I got away from the house,
you know what they created? Forbidden fruit.
Right.
Forbidden fruit
Mm.
drives
Exactly.
behavior. When we're not supposed to do it, we only want to
Oh,
do
yeah.
it more.
Yep.
And so how
That is
we
true.
talk about it, we just want to do it
That is true.
more. That is the temptation.
That is
Like,
true.
oh man, now if it was just wide open and you, when they like you got it was
Don't eat that last piece of cake up in that plate.
yeah, and then you find yourself opening up the refrigerator.
Why
I'm
not?
gonna be back that saved for my birthday.
Yeah.
Grandma made that cake.
and now
Don't eat it.
here come the enemy.
Eat it.
Eat it.
It was good, wasn't it?
It looked good. don't
What
it?
did she
I'm just
fix
gonna
it
eat
for
a
if you
little.
can't eat it?
I'm just gonna eat a little.
And then as soon as you
What
get
if
the
it's
finger
gone?
taste of frosting, and then you find yourself eating a little bit. Now it's like, okay, I can't put it back because I ate.
They saved it for a reason. It must be good. I gotta take it.
414-44.
Let's take a break, man. We gonna pull out the couch.
444-5250.
It's gonna be a long morning.
I kept thinking because
Oh,
yesterday, man, I left here exhausted, right? I said, I
Yeah,
ain't nothing to
yeah.
talk about this morning. Wrong.
Yeah,
Wrong. Let's see if there's any women in the chat as we go to break.
man, tell them
Let's
to
see.
call in that we want to hear their voice.
No,
Don't
no,
Underground.
you
don't
don't.
hide behind the typing. I want to hear what you got to say, man.
Yeah, call
Who
in,
you
Barbara.
snuck in? That's what I
Zero.
wanted to know.
Right.
Who you snuck in?
Because I know I've.
Here's the
I've been in
difference.
plenty of their houses.
Here's the
So
difference.
if you out there, call.
Here's the difference.
You hear him?
Here's the difference. And we need to learn this. Women don't talk.
Man, please. Man, you almost made
What
me say
woman
that.
you been around?
Women-
Wait,
women-
nobody say.
Hey,
Hold on.
women
What you say?
Don't-
That's not loud.
Hold on.
Heathcliff
Women-
Huxtable.
women.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Okay. All right. I'm going to prove my point. We're going to go to break.
Have 'em call.
Any women call yet?
That's because they.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Women don't. The inconsistency of life.
caller. Hope you ignore the giggles, but you're on there. Thank you for your patience.
Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Well, good morning. You know, first thing I want to say, I think the inner city of Milwaukee is going down the toilet, and it's starting to look like the slums of Rockford. We know downtown is just upside down, and I'm going to ask you this, because I think when it comes to our people, we're not talking about white people today. We're talking about people who look like us, who has the free will. I think with downtown, since people has the free will and people don't know how to act, I think they should get $2,000 tickets and no trespass orders for a year and a half. When it comes to 25th and Capitol, where there's absolutely dirt, garbage, no grass, they should either close that building down, because you know it's always some derelicts, some transients, some drifters, either somebody sitting there drunk or somebody out there fighting in their drawers and panties, probably fighting over dope, because pretty much the people look like they don't work. Then when you look at the gas station up the street from you, where the prostitutes and whores be selling that snatch, looking like Big Naughty with the lion going down her thing, looking like she from Iron Mountain, Wisconsin. Yes.
A lot of this, though, man, is survival, dude. That ain't black people. That's just survival, man. I mean, you know,
but we got
to understand that it's not just what we see here. There are other areas where people are doing. I mean, we tend to kind of.
We don't care about other areas. We care about the areas.
But what I'm saying is that we need to understand that just goes along with every area. That's not every area, but a lot of areas that we live in.
Now on Port Washington, Mequon, I know they have a motel out there where they have the transients and the junkies. But you don't see no Nick Naughty walking down there.
Let me ask you a question. Are there any drug houses in? Well, let me ask you a question. Are there any drug houses in Brookfield?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because you know a lot of
any drug houses in Waukesha.
Yeah, but you know what? Them drug houses don't look like the inner city of Milwaukee.
It's still a drug house. It's still a drug house.
Exactly, but they still have class.
Oh, okay.
You go down to Rockford, Fremont. You go down to Rockford, Illinois, and Freeport. How that building look on 25th?
But those are economically distressed areas, and what usually happens in economically distressed areas is that people who are dealing with certain issues, mental health, drug addiction, prostitution, all those things, that's what's going to happen.
So why isn't that a lot? So what I see on Atkinson, or you know, what is that? Keith and what is that? Can't get out. Keith and Atkinson. At about 4 o'clock in the morning, you got about 6, 7 white junkies and druggies sitting at a gas station zone, like they on that demon drug.
If there were no Johns, would there be prostitutes?
No, I'm talking about the junkies. Well, we know it's always
junkies, but now
John.
you're talking about a person dealing with an addiction. They need help. I mean, you can't blame. I don't say blame. I said that, you know, when a person is sitting up dealing with addiction, and now the addiction has gotten to the point that they're homeless, that they're out trying to survive. You know, I mean, I hear you, man. I just, you know, sometimes there's just things, and we talking about this with sexuality. It's human behavior, man, and people make some choices.
I don't have a problem with you being a prostitute or a little whore or whatever. I mean, look at who was born to Jesus, and his mammy was 13. So we know she was whored out.
Put that in context. Yeah. Many women were having babies at 13 because they were biological adults. So that our world has changed. We have a different understanding. But you know, do this for me, man.
Mr. Parris.
Is there any good news?
The good news is that it's not allowed in other neighborhoods. And why I'm saying this is I get so sick and tired of hearing the pity parties.
Still we rise.
It looks differently. To say it's not allowed, it looks different. I'm sure that there are laws on the books in Brookfield that says that prostitution is illegal. It's how it looks. Like you can go to Washington, D.C., what is that, 14th in Connecticut? You know, where, you know, people walking. It's on the books. People trying to survive, man.
It's under construction, though, right now.
Oh, man, that dude.
I'm saying is, No, yeah, all I'm saying is somebody. It's a mess, and the reason why I'm calling you because every time it comes to the inner city, it's always a pity party. Oh, either somebody got evicted, or somebody is a junkie. It's it seems like they can't say nothing good about blacks. It's like everybody
Okay,
just
fair point. Fair point.
Come
Stop
on
right there. Say something. You say something positive about black folks. You can change that narrative. Give me something positive about black folks.
My grandmother had 14 kids, wasn't on welfare, owned a house, and she was not on welfare, and she didn't go around here and say, I got addicted to my rent, and all I knew is this and the junkie. That is not what the inner city is about. So hopefully some of these black politicians stop using it as pity. And if they can't tell the nigga sit down, don't use it for no MF.
I appreciate the caller. That kind of goes to a little bit of the conversation that I brought up to you in our production meeting. So in the past week and a half or so, not a week and a half, like a few days ago, I had this discussion with somebody and we were talking about what's legal and then what's normalized. And we were talking about specific things that was going on in the world. And I was saying that, well, at that specific time, it was legal. And then another individual was saying, well, no, it was normalized. And our difference was, what comes first. And I was saying that, usually if something is normalized, it's because it was legal at first. Now, as time goes on, maybe what's normalized became illegal. But
in particular,
yeah. Okay. But let's just say I'm not gonna bring that specific one up, but let's just say drugs. All right. Marijuana is like normalized, even though it's illegal.
No, it's legalized in 39 states.
I'm talking about here.
Oh, Wisconsin.
Well, if you look at drugs as a whole, it's been compromised because this
has
been illegal for.
But it was legal.
They legalized it. They had allowed you to sell it.
No, cocaine.
Well,
hold on. Cocaine was legal.
Yeah, it was.
As a matter of fact, cocaine was in the original Coca-Cola. It was in the original Coca-Cola.
Right. And so
ecstasy was legal.
Right. And so my point was, in order for us to get to a normalization of something, it first had to be legal. And then, it matriculated down to being normalized because you were always doing it.
Craig brought
I would say
Craig brought a good point though. When you talk about marijuana before it was legalized, it was pretty normalized.
But
it was the widespread
a long
use
time ago though.
Right. But I'm saying up until recently, it has been illegal. It was a class 1 drug for the federal government, but that didn't stop use.
Look at
prohibition. The same.
Mm-hmm. I was just about to say that, and then also even look at some of the things that are illegal that we consider crimes. Let's just say stealing. There was a time where
when was stealing ever legal?
It had to be because you made it a law.
Okay. Well, we're gonna talk about
it.
That.
Must have been. It had to be running.
We'll talk about this on the
They
break.
was probably running rampant to where they said, "Hey, man, we got to chill out with this
stealing." Is never.
You can't
make
just
that argument about reckless driving.
Okay, so let's take a break.
You can't just do this no more, man.
Take a break.
That's why speed limits, because people were just speeding.
Stealing never legal.
Y'all do it too much.
I'm saying they allow reckless driving. That's so they can raise insurance.
Are we gonna take a break?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Boys, we are in Haters Nation population.
Millions. I'm not letting anybody off the hook today. I'm on something today. I am on. So can I do mine real quick?
Oh yeah, please do.
I'm on mine today. Okay. Let's talk about bandwagon fans. Me.
Right.
The poster child.
Definitely the poster child.
I will start with me, but Come on, man. Don't y'all have a problem with bandwagon fans?
I do.
I don't.
You don't.
I
Oh,
don't
that's right.
care.
Because you one of them.
No, I don't care.
Oh man. Oh man. What about you, Right Out?
I go down with the ship.
So you got a problem.
So you
with
got a
bandwagon
problem
fans.
with bandwagon,
No, I don't have a problem with them. I just go down with the ship.
correct?
I think people too much. Well, no, I'm not a bandwagon fan.
There's only one exception for that for me. Packers. I ride or
Why is
die.
that?
I ride or die with the Packers.
Why is that?
That's just how deep I am with the Packers. But the Bucks,
Oh, here we go.
Man, go to sleep, right out. Give you a nap, man.
now I'm really up in the bandwagon right now with the Brewers. But boy, oh boy, let me tell you.
Come on, man.
Yeah, hey man, I'm just being honest with you, bro.
First team to 70.
Right? They doing well, man.
Bread
Yeah,
and
But
sport.
they always do well around this time. And then when October comes, we fall off the boat.
Oh, we fall off the. Are you
Mass
still on the
distraction.
bandwagon?
Yeah. I mean, listen, man, I've been
I
riding
agree
with
with
the
that.
Brewers since Robin Yop, Paul Monitor. I've been riding Cecil Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He just did an interview. I gotta watch it.
Cecil,
Yeah, he did it with Matt Barnes.
Raleigh Fingers.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I've been
Stabs.
Yeah.
So is it
Stabs.
Cecil or Cecil? I thought it was
Cecil.
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 Is
What's
Cecil
your favorite?
Fielder.
What's your
Cecil
favorite
Fields.
pickleball team?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey,
Cecil
keep-
Fielder is who just did
Yeah,
the
man.
interview. Cecil
Now,
Fielder.
if you said banana ball,
No, I
Hey.
like
See,
banana
banana
baseball.
ball
There it is.
they sold out Miller
I
Park
seen it.
two dates. The Brewers don't always do that.
Listen, man, I actually sat and watched the whole game
No.
of the whole banana ball, and it's intriguing, man. Like just watching how they
Oh,
That-
these dudes are.
that trick pitch, man. That one guy got him with the trick pitch when he did like this, but he threw it behind his back, and it was crazy because he fooled everybody in the park.
What's your hate? I thought it was just a reason for it. I didn't think it was just bandwagon fan. I thought you had a story.
That's how hate works.
No, you usually gotta.
Oh, I got some more
something
hate.
with it.
I got some. Oh, I was just saying me. I hate bandwagon fans, but I'm one of them. All right.
More
I hate this one. Now, this one, I just think this is just pure, just hateration. Folks who hate on other people's money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
get out my pocket.
You know,
Yeah.
like he making $115,000 a year.
And
And what's your point?
don't do nothing.
Yeah,
Or-
yeah,
or-
man. Oh, come on, man.
So let me say this one though. I played at a festival at one time with was it 2 or 3 bands. So they paid us to come. Then I sat in with 2 other bands. But you had people on the side saying, "Oh, what y'all paying him 3 times?" And I stopped them and say, "Hold on. What they paid my band is different, and me sitting in is just me sitting in with different bands. But don't worry
I
about
ain't got to explain
my
to you
pockets,
about
man.
me getting
That
paid.
ain't that one of my
But-
rules.
Yeah.
I don't
Explain
do
that.
no explaining.
Yeah,
Explain
I
nothing
don't
to
do
you
no
about me getting.
explaining, man.
But
See,
people, they start off.
see, they just gotta listen to me, man.
Like,
That's
man,
all.
don't count
I
my
don't
money,
do no
man.
explaining.
Don't count my
But
money.
I never see. I always been in the thinking of what's for me is for me, and what's not, it's not for me. And so I never worried about nobody pockets or what nobody else is getting. And I always shied away from those conversations when people try to invite you into those
Yeah.
type of conversations. I just say
Man,
like,
that-
man,
so
I don't
what?
care.
So what?
I don't care.
You do what you need to do,
Yeah,
and then you get paid.
right.
Man, I hate that. Man, I just saw a post this dude, and the first thing he talked about was how much she was making. Okay, what's your point?
He just
Oh, it ain't a point. It's just hate.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Do I have another one?
Hey.
Let's see. And oh, here's my favorite one. Folks who know the truth.
Paul Pierce.
Folks
No,
who know the truth.
the truth,
the
truth.
truth. They know
The
that when
absolute truth.
they know
Roof.
Folks who know the truth.
the truth is that they know when you fired when you come to work.
You know, like the 5%ers. So only 5% of us know the truth. What about the other 95%? Oh man, people who know, my buddy used to say, watch out for true believers. And then people call in and their tone is that they just got the truth. Let me tell you something about truth. Truth can be elusive. Truth can be fluid. And then sometimes the truth you're talking about can be so absolute, it eats you up. But all these people out there just know the truth. You just, and you know what gets into those folks who know the truth? Then they're critical of everybody else, right? I know the truth. Everybody else is foul.
You know, part of the reasons about that 5% and 95% is because you know that 95% is more than that 5%. So they really hawk down on you as if you wrong when they wrong.
Who's that?
So the percentage that don't know the truth.
So
the 95%.
In that, though, you know, the other side of that coin is those who believe the lie.
Right. That could be that 95%.
It could be the 5%.
Literally will follow a lie.
It could be the 5%.
But cognitive
let's just
dissonance
stick
kind of
to
lie
the truth, though.
that changes. I mean, we see it happening right now.
I'm just saying.
I hear you.
I hear it in the tone. Like you got a monopoly on the truth. No, you don't. No, I don't. Is he saying something?
The fungus among us, though.
The fungus among us.
2 calls, then we got a break. So okay. Callers don't take all day.
No, because we have to come back to
order.
We still got some more hate. Though.
I don't want any labor problems around here. So
that's right.
It's been a lot of hate this
caller wasn't their program.
Already.
Good morning, you're on there.
What's going on, players?
All right, yourself.
What's happening?
I got a good hate right here.
What's that?
I hate when one side of the parent pick and choose when to discipline the child. I hate that. I hate that you can't pick and choose when you want other parent to discipline the child.
Because they need consistency. That's right.
Oh, hold on. Here's what he's saying. Wait till your father gets home. Is that what I'm hearing?
No. I'm saying is, if she balled him out, don't ball him out. But if I ball him out a different way, don't ball him out too bad.
You teaching them how to play between the two of them.
Yeah, so don't do that. I hate
right.
that.
That's right.
Does someone need to hear that?
Yes, they do. It's a bunch of people need to hear that.
That's right.
Anybody near you need to hear that?
Hell yeah.
You notice he whispered now. Yeah.
No, I'm at work.
I bet.
Well, call us back from the
That
crib.
goes back to that
Call us back from the crib.
About the compromise.
And I want to hear the same volume
It
at
was
the
legal
crib.
until it became normalized.
That's right.
Hey, because listen, if he need to get punched in the jaw, he need to get punched in the jaw.
Okay.
That's right.
But man,
You don't punch a child in
but
the
I hear
Not literally, but not literally.
I hear the strength of your conviction, man. I mean, you feel strongly about this, don't you?
Heck yeah, I do, man. You heard me say hell no.
Okay. All right. When can you call us from home?
Hey, we gonna get the next caller because they probably in at work.
Don't hit the child in the jaw.
No, I can't.
Get the cop.
If we don't hear from you Monday, we know what happened when you got home.
No, we're not together, so that ain't got nothing to do with it. I said it myself.
I hear you, bro.
I was at work. Did you hear me, Negro?
Yeah, talk strong, man. I had a buddy. He come by my house. He be talking hard. I said,
when he get home,
that's 2815. I like to hear what you talk like over at 5500 because I know what you sound like at 2815. When I come to 5500, I'm hearing crickets.
It was a good preseason game last night. How about that?
I didn't even see that.
No, I didn't see
I
it.
was in church.
It was Hall of Fame game.
Buzzer beater.
Hall of Game. It was a final run touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good game.
All right, appreciate you, man.
All right now.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, you're on air.
Morning, gentlemen.
What's happening?
Well, what is the absolute truth? Figure that one out. But I'm gonna tell you, just like the last caller, he was kind of quiet as girl might have been in the kitchen. And, you know, the thing is being honest with each other. It makes all the sense in the world, but your kids need consistency. And when you're disciplining, life goes on. And if you got to pick and choose when you discipline, when you gonna allow the other person to discipline the child. But now, unlike my issue, she's straight wrong. She don't care how she deal with it. So at no point of time she can I just leave her out of it. Because I do have full places for the thing. You know, let's talk about the truth. Look at society today. Look what we got up in the White House. I'm not going to say any names because I ain't going to have you hanging up on me. But they feel that is 100% true. What we going to do about that? Have a good one.
I would never put truth on this White House.
No.
You listen to Community Voice. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
What did you say?
That's an oxygen. Can I do a disclaimer before DJ does the perspective caller? We're going to grab you right after. I know some of you tuned in expecting
And another thing.
expecting a what would I say?
That Emmy Award winning show.
Yeah, we got off the rails like 8 minutes in, and now it's time.
It's your fault.
Okay, I'll take responsibility for it. Let me take the wheel back of my program. Right now, it's time for the protege's perspective.
Since the day you were born, you were provided a wealth of knowledge. As an infant to a toddler, to your adolescent years, then teenage years, and lastly, your adult years. Incrementally, new things are provided to you as knowledge in an effort to aid you in evolving as a human being. Each segment of your life are just as important as the others. Valuable and necessary skills are passed on to you as each day passes on. Some of the most valuable information you will receive will come from those who know. Those who know what you want to do, those who know what you want to be, and those who know what you don't see. We often hear knowledge is power, and it is less often that we hear that knowledge is also omniscient and omnipresent. Through challenges, we begin to discover just how knowledgeable we are, how strong we are, and how resilient we are. Depending on the stage of life you are in and the field you are in, there may be some things that you feel you just don't know. While there will always be things you are unfamiliar with, we will already have been in the position to be given answers to quite a few tests. The Bible says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he grow old, he will never depart from it. This passage speaks to the elders in providing and teaching a righteous path to the younger generation. This passage also speaks to the younger generation as well. It informs you that if you follow the guidance of your elders, when you grow more mature, those ways and words will be instilled in you. It's a commonly traveled street towards the path of knowledge and righteousness. So when you are contemplating your next move or pondering a question that life presents to you, it's more than likely that you already have the answers. It just depends on if you took heed to them when the knowledge was given.
Appreciate you. Yeah, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but can I get a right out? I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but when all Kennedy could do yesterday was brag about she got shouted out on the radio. She let her day camp counselor know.
Celebrity status.
When she talked to her mom and dad last night, she let them know. I didn't know that was such a big deal for her.
Oh yeah,
You know what?
That's a big deal for a lot of kids.
I've just been blasted a few times by, one of my mom's best friends. She's basically like an auntie to me. So because you said that, I gotta give a shout out to Joanne Evers. Always thinking about you. We love you, and I'm never forgetting about you. So this is your shout out. You can't say I don't shout you out no more. I got you.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You're on there.
Hey, what's up, my brothers? How y'all doing, man?
All right, yourself.
Hey, you know what? That's beautiful what you just said, both of y'all. People don't realize that y'all stars in people's eyes. Just being a family member and stuff when you a little bit older, they just think you the bomb. Yeah. And it's amazing how that works. People don't realize that. They really look up to you. Well, anyway, talking about that relationships, man, you remember in middle school, that's when it starts. First you looking at your teacher, and then you get one of your peers that like you and look at you. Boy, it be on when one of them peers like you. You be like, woo, she fine and she like me. Man, this is so crazy. And it's just so innocent, but it's fun.
Right.
And then you was talking about that money thing. I got a plumber and he did some work for a big apartment, and the lady gonna say, how much you charging me? So she gave her the price after he finished. She said, I'm a teacher and I don't make that much money an hour. He said, when I was a teacher, I didn't make that much money an hour. Peace, y'all, brothers. Have a good weekend.
That's why I became a plumber.
He said that makes two of us.
That makes two of us. Yeah, man. I just thought about this, and I don't know if it's an ethic, if it's a work ethic, but I'm talking about me. I knew what I signed up for. They told me what my rate of pay was going to be when I came in the door. Mm-hmm. Right? I agreed, and so I accepted that. And then I don't know why I get in the door and I start tripping about they ain't paying me no money. They told you they weren't going to pay you no money.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves. You read the job description, they explain the job to you in the interview, and they tell you what you're going to be getting paid. And then when you say, oh, yeah, I can do that. Mm-hmm. And then when you get there, you act like, oh, I don't get paid enough to do this or this, that, and the third. Hey, this is what you signed up for. And 9 times out of 10, people didn't ask you to be at this job. You applied, which means you asked for this opportunity.
No victims, just no volunteers.
Yeah.
And sometimes, look, and I was saying this about getting fired. There's some jobs I should have gotten fired from, and I did. Mm-hmm. And there's some jobs I should have got fired from, and I didn't. Now, that's my life. I can't talk about everybody else's life, but I'm just saying. So there have been some situations where they paid me far more money than I should have ever gotten. And then I had other situations where it was low. It really didn't matter because I need to be consistent. It was something that the late Pastor William Yancey Sr. said to me. He said, you know what? You preached to 5 like you preached to 5,000.
That's good.
And I appreciated that advice. It's not the size of the crowd, right? Your work is your work. If you're a professional, I got a big crowd, boom, you get the show. I got a small crowd, boom, you get the show.
It's that always speaks to me when Dr. King preached his lesson or sermon, life's DNA. Whatever you do, no matter what it is, do it to the best of your ability. Right. And Jay-Z had a song called My Last Song or My First Song. It was called My First Song. And in the insert, Biggie said, Diddy told him, hey, treat your first like your last and your last like your first, so that you stay hungry, you stay giving your all to that particular task. And a lot of people, like you said last week, a lot of people at best are only doing maybe 80%, working 80% to their capacity. You know what I mean? But then have the audacity to be complaining about you know, what they getting paid and this, that, and third when they ask for it anyway.
And you find a lot of people try to get out of the work that they're responsible for anyway. But
Right.
Go back to your perspective related to what you just said about Dr. King and being the best, and your perspective touched on this concept that has been recently discussed in a group that I'm a part of, where within the seed is contained all that the plant needs to become thriving.
Mm-hmm.
It just needs additional things poured into it as it begins to grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that information, that knowledge, that, you know, input from those, that curators, the loved ones, all those who are pouring into that person, that life,
Mm-hmm.
to help it become, you know, what to reach its maximum potential.
Right. My grandmother is actually the genesis of this particular perspective, because when I was younger, Granny used to always tell me, learn a new word a day. You learn a new word a day, you write a sentence, and by the end of that week, you'll have a paragraph. And I just think about how I always wanted to, you know, expand my vocabulary, how I wanted to, you know, expound in various endeavors. And I'm like, but if I had just done what my grandmother did, which was learn a new word each day, you know, maybe my outcomes will be a little different. And so that's why I said, like, you know, sometimes we already have the answers to that test. It's just, did we listen, and did we, you know, expand on it and put it into action?
Yeah, and I think, you know, I at this age, I still have questions. And I hope I question to the end of my existence here. That's what I'm talking about, people who know the truth. You so locked into that, what you think is true. And then you come to find out that maybe with more examination, it's like, I'll call out his name. When Meech calls in, Meech will do I said, well, Meech, go look it up. I ain't going to look it up. So what you're doing is you're saying that your ignorance is not blissful. Let me put it that way. That, you know, that's why we do the cleanups on aisle 5, cleanups on aisle 6, because that some information got out was incomplete or it was inaccurate. And so be able, but I
got to be able to rectify.
Right. I still have questions, man. And I'm going to question, you know, I just think that keeps us alive. And that you're exposed to new and different things. I think when you're getting old and now you don't want to learn anything else, that doesn't bode well. I mean,
so how do you process the scripture that says ever learning and never coming into the knowledge of the truth? To me, what you just said explains that.
It does, but I also think that there are people out there who are, if this is what it says, and if this is what it says, this is what must be. Now, I'm going to get in trouble with a lot of my real good Baptist friends here, is that there are many people believe that all truth is in the Bible. It's hard to get people to understand that the Bible is a book. And I'm only using that because, you know, people, they will cite scripture. But it was composed by men, not women, because there are no female writers, right? So that's not even complete. So what I like to do is be able to extract the truth from the Bible. And
who wrote Ruth?
Ruth was written about somebody. I don't think Ruth wrote it. Because Ruth, it was probably, they wouldn't even teach Ruth how to write. Right. All right. Because she was a woman. So I'm just saying that in terms of.
Who wrote it, though? You don't know?
Yeah, you can look it up.
I think there are some books in the Sefer Bible that are written.
No. You're talking about in the Bible.
Yeah. No, and what I'm saying,
So he said,
all I'm saying is that there's certain things, like I believe God is absolute.
Me too.
I believe our knowledge of God is incomplete.
Yeah.
As it should be, as it will be. That's that.
Those are not conflicting though.
Well, yeah, but some folks speak as if
They just know.
they know, and that gets me back to I don't speak for God.
No, you don't.
I don't speak for God.
Mhm.
God doesn't need me to speak for her. You're listening to Community Voice. We're gonna take a break. Carl, I see you. I'm gonna grab you.
That's why your back was messed up. That's why your back was messed up. You keep on. He gonna pierce
She
you
don't
the other
need my
side.
help.
He gonna pierce
She
you the other
don't
side.
need
Keep
my-
on.
She
Keep
can
on.
be bad all by her.
Keep on.
She don't need me to speak her truth. You're listening
See,
to Community
you
Voice.
can avoid that by just
I know.
defining the creator.
There you go. There
And
you go.
and
And
then
you know how difficult that is?
well,
it is-
but again, it goes back to DJ's,
Correct.
we
gotta take a break.
go ahead. But my point is this. My point is
you're
this.
going to take us to
He
break
said,
after you take
what
the
did
point.
you say? You said, I don't do the explanations.
Right.
All right.
I don't do
Take
no
us to break.
explaining.
And we're going to break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. As Right Out has just sent me to hell again. We're going to take a quick break. Carla, welcome to the program.
Good morning, you're on air.
Hey, good morning to you. I was just listening, and I heard my man bring my name up and said, I'm not going to study. I don't got to check it out. That's not true. I never said that, brother. That's an untruth. I never said that I'm not going to study. The knowledge that I have, the only way I've retained it is through studying. I didn't Google it, because Google knowledge, most of it is unretainable. You have to go back and research it again and again because you didn't study it and make sure that it was
Why did you
in
Google
the
it?
data, meaning in your hard drive.
If you looked it up, if you did the research,
So
why wouldn't you
Google,
study it?
keep calling back, get more. You never learn it, okay? So check this here out, man. I heard you say God, she, and he. Anybody that would just about a living God, either two things. He either doesn't believe in the existence of God, or he's just he either doesn't believe in the existence of God, or he has no fear of God, the living God. And it's a bad thing to fall into the hands of an angry God, man.
Did you hear any of this prior to your name? Because if you ever heard anything prior to your name, what I said was that at this point, we're trying to understand God, and we will never understand God. Did you hear that?
Yeah, and you can never understand God.
Okay,
Listen,
so what I'm saying is that God is bigger than humanity.
Okay, listen.
Is God bigger than humanity?
We have a manual. We have a manual to go by. Okay, and anytime, see what you're doing when you start saying she and he, what you're doing is blaspheming. And that blaspheming that you're doing is that unto death. See, check this out. Because, see, they brought Jesus up. They brought Jesus up on charges of blasphemy. That was really why he was executed. Check it out, man. When you
that is not why Jesus was not. See, this is what I'm talking about. That is not why Jesus was crucified.
Okay, but you
Jesus,
see what you're doing
no, because you putting some bad acid out there right now. Hold on, stop. Hey, bring it down. Bring it down. That is not why Jesus was crucified. Jesus was crucified for secession and treason. Jesus went against, it was Rome that crucified Jesus. As a matter of fact, there were certain things that the Jewish authorities wanted included on that little thing over his head, and Pilate rejected. Jesus's problem was with Rome. Now, it didn't help that the local folks had a problem with him and they set him up for Rome.
Right.
But that's what he was crucified for. Jewish people did not crucify other Jewish people.
Pontius Pilate didn't want nothing to do with it.
So they say. No, because the historical Pontius Pilate is very different. And that's the other piece of it. We take that narrative, but we need to also know the history around what created that time. Most scholars will say that Pontius Pilate was ruthless. Yeah. The only thing that Pontius Pilate was concerned with was order. Right. And so Jesus, based on the presentation, but even then when he pushed back, like the stuff y'all trying to blame him for, now get him with this. Anybody see the Book of Clarence? Anybody see that movie?
No.
Remember at the end when he got crucified and he kept saying, look, dude, this is just a hustle for me. And what did the Roman guy say? Say, yeah, but you have people following you. So you could flip it. Right?
That was like on the trailer or something. I saw that part.
Yeah, you know, that was his point was, and that's what happens in society. that when you push up against it, you know, we saw it in the 60s, right? Where people were threatening the
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
If that's the case, and he said it was a hustle, and you already know what the book says, okay, and you want to say that he's a she and all of this kind of stuff, you're blaspheming because you're taking the book and you're making it say what you wanted to say. You know, he said.
No,
you know
I'm telling you, if you understand, people write in the tense, and usually you write it from your perspective. The tense, your tense. No.
Do you believe in the Bible, sir?
How many women have authored? How many women have authored books in the Bible?
Okay, I want to ask you a question.
No, answer that question. That's a pretty simple one.
Conversation right quick.
That's a pretty simple one. How many women in your canon has authored books in the Bible?
Hey, look, this is what happens, gentlemen in the studio and listeners. When you go out seeking the truth beyond what your mom and daddy and great grandparents have passed you, you go out and you seek the truth instead of debunking their truth. You seek truth greater than your truth, and you wind up like this.
Appreciate you, man. You listen to Community Voice. We're going to take a break. Oh, man, I'm all jacked up. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back.
You familiar with Dr. Ivan Van Sertima? He
No.
talks about those things
Right.
specifically.
Right. I mean, you know, there's something called the universal land drift theory. I don't know if anybody's heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was saying that at one point, all of the earth,
The masses.
was one
Mhm.
piece.
Mm-hmm.
And over millions of years, it broke apart.
Mm-hmm.
And that created what we have in terms of our continents, right? And I was just watching this whole thing that they were doing on how the earth is perfectly placed in terms of distance from the sun in order for organisms.
Mm-hmm.
That's us, that's grass, all that, the perfect environment based on its placement. Now, it didn't just start there, right? We're talking millions and billions of years.
Let me ask you a question regarding that, because you say that quite often. And then when I'm at home, I hear you say that. And I say to myself, so the theory of that theory, could it not be that the creator made it that way, where it gives the appearance of being millions of years old, but it's created to have these ingredients?
How old is light? Light is 13 billion years old. How do they know?
That's only based on man's
No,
perspective.
hold on. How do we know?
That's only man's perspective.
No, not a perspective. How do we know that? Because there's a telescope.
That's the man's perspective.
Wait a minute. There's a telescope that says that the original light took the light that we experience today took 13 billion years. We're trying to encapsulate existence into our years on the earth,
and that's man's perspective. That's all I'm saying. But just like when they do carbon dating, all of these things are based on our ability.
Well, I could say that existence is older than 8,000 years. I can say that. And we say it's all perspective. But what I'm saying is that the same perspective that people use to say that it was Adam and Eve in the garden is different. Adam and Eve was not scientifically discovered. No, when you talk about light, again, 13, that's how old this existence is. Not just here on earth, 13 billion years old. That's how vast God is.
So where did that number come from?
The number came from a telescope that said that based on how long it took, this distance from the furthest first star.
You always say about science. That's man's perspective. That's science. That's man's science.
Who's having the discussion?
We are men.
Okay.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay. So then let me ask you this question then, Craig. How no, I'm not. I am not minimizing the creation. What I just said, and I said it 4 times on this program, our understanding of God is limited.
Keith, use your inside voice.
Minimum.
No passes.
That's right. You hit it right on the head.
Inside voice.
And then I also went in. I'm gonna use my outside voice. When I also said that because of that, our understanding of
I'm putting
God,
the key on him right now. You just don't know.
Our understanding of God is limited.
That's right.
It's limited by
Absolutely.
our humanity.
Absolutely.
But what beings have a problem with is that human beings believe that they are the center of everything. Human beings do not see themselves as just another part of existence. We don't.
Absolutely.
So that's why they just said that no creature has had the impact on the earth in the last 40,000 years. It was human beings.
Right.
They don't really know that though.
It's human beings. Right. But existence is more than human beings. It's like when you go out, we were talking with the brothers that went to camp, and they talk about all the stars that you see at night. Do you know how many millions of miles those stars are from us?
See, that can be one thing, but then all of that trying to decipher how many years away certain stuff is from, I don't really believe that, because you would have to go that many miles away.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, you would, because then
It's all based on science.
how can you give that certain perspective?
It's our level of understanding. So we put things in a perspective that we can understand.
So there obviously, we have been having some hearings, and there's always been talked about aliens, right? And they were saying that from a certain distance from Earth and into space, the aliens, what they see right now is like 400 years ago or whatever. And my point was, well, how could you believe that? Did they go with the aliens and sit where they were sitting to give us that perspective?
Right. But see, my point is this:
you can't just be saying stuff,
there are things
and then
like
because
the
you
Dogon
put something in
people
place
back in their day could deal with the star Sirius B, and we still don't understand how they did that. We still can't understand how the pyramids were built.
Right?
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do. It was that the Egyptians developed one of the most sophisticated pulley systems. That's how they were able to do what they were able to do. It was their science. It was their engineering. So let me ask you, brothers.
Why can't we do it now?
Let me ask you. You can do it now. You can build the pyramids now. Let me ask you a question. How old is existence?
We don't know.
Take a guess. How old do you think it is, based on what you know?
Based on what I know, I give it 50,000 years.
I would say it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
No, really, because we're here now. We're here for a short period of time. This is something I was thinking about on the way in here. What is the purpose of life? What is your purpose in life?
I don't know.
It is to contribute based on the gifts and talents that have been endowed. You've been endowed with,
Maybe.
so that
might not be for me.
life for the next generation can be better.
That might not be for me.
I mean, that's what your ancestors did. What they did was allowed you to do what you're doing now.
Let me say
That's
this.
all I'm saying.
I will.
So that's the purpose for all of us.
Let me say this. That's
And this is
preaching.
why we're missing so much stuff now, because
But
we've left those
you
things behind.
you preaching now. But let's get back.
Yeah.
Hey,
If that's your philosophy,
to the mic, man.
That's the point. That's the point.
if that's your philosophy,
The audience don't hear you.
Well,
but everybody doesn't subscribe to that philosophy.
hey,
Yeah,
you
but-
have those are the destroyers and those
True.
that
You
are
don't have no choice,
producers.
though.
True. I mean,
You do have a choice.
No, because we all put here.
I
for
could
a
choose to
reason.
contribute,
Right.
or I could choose
No,
not to
wait.
contribute.
Well, no, that's
no,
true.
that
and
is
then,
true,
then
but-
we will miss some
but
things.
that
But
goes
we
to
all have
purpose.
a purpose.
Yeah.
We all have a purpose. Now, if you don't fulfill your purpose before you leave, it's on you. But we was all put here for a purpose. All of us was
That's
put here
true.
for a purpose.
But also, you have to understand that what we want our purpose to be may not.
To be what God has.
Right. And that also goes into how we always want to have a hand in something, how we think that it's supposed to be this way. A lot of this stuff ain't up to us. Like if we say this all the time and we take it for granted, tomorrow isn't promised. Is it really up to me that I see tomorrow? Not necessarily.
Right. Prime example, man. My guy went to school to be a chemical engineer. So he tried to control his destiny. He go to school 4 years, chemical engineer. Graduated. Now 10, 15 years later, he's never worked a day in this field
because
of, even though he wanted to work in that field, his destiny wasn't in that field.
What's the number?
And your purpose can still be a lesson to somebody else, but just not the way that how you want it to be.
75 to 80% of people do not work in the major that they studied in college.
I get it, but
so that has
reason,
everything to do with the job market, the situation you find. There are other factors. Life is not,
and also just wanting to get done with graduate.
Oh, the example that the dude just gave, when she was complaining as a teacher about what she was getting made, and he said, "I used to be a teacher. That's why I became a plumber."
But what I'm saying is, why would you go to school and spend all of this money? You spent all this money in this field because you wanted this particular thing you was going to school for to better your life.
When you were programmed to say that if you get an education, life will be better. But
of course,
but with more understanding, you will begin to understand that one, college ain't for everybody, and then two, it's a lot of things within college that
set you back.
You not necessarily set you back
financially,
but you may start off with one major, and then you may end off in another major just for how things flow. Like I started off with 2 different majors prior to the one that I graduated with.
That's why
I started. Wait.
Education.
Wait.
And indoctrination.
I started off with sports management, and then I went to communications. But then I eventually led up to social work, and one of my social work professors told me was that you don't choose social work chooses you. And so I had to figure that out along the way.
Can I give y'all some inside baseball on how college works? That's why you don't declare your major until after your sophomore year,
right?
Because I went in Bible theology to psychology to English lit to political science. All right. We're getting we got to land the plane.
Yeah,
indoctrination and education. What are you going to do with the information? If you use it to help advance your people and life, then the education. But if you use it just to continue to complete the continuum of being suppressed and oppressed, which is what this whole thing has been happening to us is all about. Therein lies that dichotomy.
Can you say that again? What you said?
I thought you said we had to go.
Yeah, we do.
Education and the indoctrination is dependent upon what you do with that information. If you've been indoctrinated, you're gonna follow what they've been doing to you, because then you're gonna continue to be subjected to these things that they've been allowing. And basically, what is it? The colonization of the mind of the people who they want to control.
Well,
all of these things.
Let me quote the prophet George Clinton: "Free your mind." Clark Kent, thank you, sir.
And what else did he say?
Yeah, I think
improve
George
your interplanetary functionship.
I think George was high.
It don't matter if it don't matter if he was high. We always say, trust the message, not the messenger. The message is more important than the message.
DJ, thank you, sir.
Aqua Boogie.
Craig Stingley, thank you.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
The message is way more important.
I'm controlling the mic.
Apostle.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Hey, y'all. Thank you, everybody, for I can't wait. My wife is going to wear me out when I get off the air.
Y'all gonna tear your own city up, man.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
We better than this.
The good Lord willing, quick to ride. So talk to everybody on Monday. And as always, go from this place in peace.